Hey friends and welcome. This is Dr. Heather coming to you live from Ask Dr. Heather here at Cardin Center for Wellness in Overland Park, Kansas. So I had a bunch of people asking me to tell a little bit more of my story, but first I want to hear a little bit more about you. So let me know where you're listening from. Let me know, maybe you want to tag a friend down here below. So if you're brand new to Ask Dr. Heather, this page was actually set up years ago because people would come into my office and I would share things about, maybe we'd be helping with headaches or low back pain. I'd be sharing recipes, our stretches, and people like, oh, I couldn't remember what you told me to do. So I'd actually add that content here. But as social media has grown, people have actually continued to ask a lot more in-depth questions, a lot more personal questions. So today's about challenges. Challenges can be a lot of different ways. We know sports teams have challenges. We all have challenges. So today it's going to be about health challenges. I was talking with someone earlier in the office like, oh my gosh, look, I'm hitting all my challenges. I'm hitting all my steps today. Well, before we had Fitbits and watches, people actually, the average step, and this was a board question 20 some years ago, the average person took 15,000 steps a day. I actually had this conversation with my physical therapist on Monday. People actually, I think, are actually not taking enough steps because now they're calculating like what they used to get. So anyways, just think about that for a second. I said that only because oftentimes when we're tracking things, sometimes we don't hit what we really should be hitting because we're underperforming, because we're looking at what some of the trends should be and not what we should be doing for our body. So I just want to throw that out there that the average person 20 years ago was taking 15,000 steps. So I challenge you to take more than 15,000 steps every day because we know that the new smoking is the new sitting, or I said it backwards, the new sitting is the old smoking. But challenge-wise, why I'm darting around this is because I was sharing something super funny and I said, you know what, I'm going to be more real here with you guys. We talk about tools and challenges. So as many of you know, I had my right leg, upper knee amputated in April. So I've had a lot of challenges this year in 2019. So I use tools. People talk about tools and challenges. I have to use 2 crutches still to walk. I do have a new tool. It's called a prosthesis, which I'd share some bits of information there. But I also have to use tools like a physical therapist, occupational therapist. I use tools every day. Sometimes I use supplements. I do drink my ketones every day. Those are tools to help my body get healthier and to help me get where I want it to go. So I'm asking you to kind of share some of the challenges that you may have. And maybe it's something that maybe you don't have a challenge, and challenges can be financial, challenges can be in relationships, challenges can be physical, challenges can be chemical, challenges can be emotional. There's lots of different ways that you can have challenges, and they can be really interwoven sometimes. Having a physical challenge like not being able to walk can be actually emotionally challenging, right? Like, I would love to go dancing. I'd love to go snow skiing this month, but that's something that's not going to happen yet, or not going to happen not this year, but could be happen later. So I'm going to use that as an example. I was telling people that I did a triathlon last Monday or a triathlon on Wednesday. I didn't do a triathlon, but I'm going to do a triathlon. The reason I say I did a triathlon because when I was at physical therapy, I did get in the pool for 30 minutes. I was on a New Step bike, which is a bicycle at rehab. It actually, your arms help move the legs since I only have one leg. So I was on the bicycle for 25 to 30 minutes, and then I walked 800 feet, which is almost a half a mile. I know meters and feet, still a conversion thing. Anyway, that's how people start training for things. So in my mind, that's me training for a triathlon, things that I had once done prior to amputation or prior to getting CRPS or chronic or complex regional pain syndrome or RSD. So I want to help you think of that as well. So maybe you are at 300 pounds and your challenge is, I got to get to 150 pounds. And I think you have to challenge, say, I've got to start with 10 pounds first, or I've got to start with 20 pounds first. Or maybe it's about blood sugar. Maybe you're using 100 units of insulin and you say, my challenge is I've got to at first get it down 10 units of insulin a day. It's little baby steps. It's taking little challenges at a time, and it's finding the tools that work for you. And some of those tools can be very easy, but can be yet be very hard. Like the tool of sleeping, which I was sharing with a patient the other day. Sleeping is our secret weapon, but oftentimes it's so hard to turn that remote control off and put your head to bed, or put the phone down and go to bed. Or it's hard maybe if you're trying to get a new baby to sleep and you know that you should just not go to them in the middle of the night. You know the right thing is to let them sleep through it if you're at that stage as a newborn father or mother or something like that. Sometimes you have to ignore that. So there's little baby steps you can take. So as we're talking about challenges and tools and taking a new you as you roll into 2020, maybe take some of those things that I've been been told by other people on social media. Share more of your challenges. Share what you've done to help us, maybe guide us in our challenges, whether it's financial. And we are sharing this with our sons that are over the age of 20, that if you save now, how it pays off in the long run. Or you can share with your 5-year-old, if you brush your teeth now, then you won't have dentures like great grandpa, things like that. Well, I can tell you now that I'm telling my mind, I'm wearing a triathlon shirt that's hanging in my closet. I tell my sons, oh, I did my triathlon today. I actually figured out a little bit how to swim. I rode the bike. I did some walking. The same thing's true for you, whether it's about sleeping, whether it's about saving money, whether it's about getting that fat off, because that's really what it is. A lot of people this time of year is they're tired, they're fatigued. And when I usually ask my patients or friend, what if you had the energy? What if you were at your ideal weight? What would that look like for you? What would that mean to you if you were at your ideal weight? Why is that important to you? So if there's goals, right, or there's challenges, like what's stopping you from doing that? What's stopping you? Is it the cravings are hijacking your brain? Is it the stress in life is hijacking your brain? Maybe you can't turn your brain off to sleep at night, so that's throwing your cortisol, your hormones out of balance, which is hijacking your brain. So hi, Kim, thanks for joining us. I do want to say hi to everybody. I try not to say hi to one person because I don't leave one person out, but this is absolutely meant to be shared. And I always want to bring some education, some value, and be short and sweet and not loop around 5 times, but I do want to make sure that I'm bringing some type of value, or just say something that kind of clicks and say, aha, that makes sense. So I just want to share some of the tools that I use each and every day. I do use a Brain Tap app to try to get my brain to sleep and shut off. I had a lot of trouble sleeping after my revision in January and after I fell in August. I think anytime you're in the hospital setting, because your brain is woken up so many times a day, and I had a lot of pain. I had a lot of trouble getting my brain back to sleep. The stress on my body of having back-to-back surgeries in April and July made me lose several inches of my hair. So I'm working on a lot of good nutrition with bone broth to try to help, and collagen and eating protein to get my hair back. I still use, for pain control, I use spinal cord stimulators that were implanted in 2016. I use my crutches every day to get from place to place. So those are things that I use as well. What's my other nutrition? I take vitamin D, I take magnesium, I take vitamin C, especially as we go into cold and flu season. Anyone with complex regional pain syndrome, any chronic pain person, all the research shows that you should be taking 2 to 3 grams of vitamin C a day, in a very clean brand. So again, love the hearts and the thumbs up, because again, sometimes you take things after something happened, but you can also do things preventative wise. So I also am just now, as I'm getting into that next stage of health, and I can tell you, I said, gosh, do the amputation, let's get my resting heart rate down, which it is, and I'll be fine. Well, then I'm like, oh, my friend Betty's like, let's go to yoga. And I've been waiting to go to yoga. So I started doing hot yoga a couple of weeks ago, just restorative type, a little bit of a vinyasa, and my residual limb is shrinking a little bit, which is really, really good. And then my therapist said, let's try some hot water swimming, which I think is helping. So every little twist or turn, so a 1 to 2 degree shift every day can help. And whether that is saying, I'm not going to eat past 8 o'clock, or I'm not going to snack in the middle of meals. And that's really what our January 6-week program is about, is we're going to take you week by week with little tiny baby steps of overhauling your lifestyle, of how you think about food, how you think about health and wellness, and not to be confused with someone who looks like a bikini model fitness, whether it's male or female, and maybe they're eating Oreos behind the closet. We're going to help you about health and wellness and putting those two together. We also have a challenge going on right now that you can actually, I'll help you with that. Just put beta down below. A 10-week challenge. Just what would that look like for 10 days if you actually had control of the sugar, if you were drinking your ideal weight of water every single day, and if you really stopped snacking after 8 o'clock at night, how could that really make you feel if you had that? And we've got a biohacking tool to help you do that. Those are called exogenous ketones. You know, you've heard me talk about those before, but these are all tools in a toolbox that I have, or that many people have, to help facilitate them to get the better, optimal, healthy body that they want. And most people I meet is actually slowing down the aging process. Having my mother, who's over 29 a few times, she's like, just take care of yourself now in your 50s or your 40s or your 30s. Slow down that aging process. We have learned now that if you have Alzheimer's or dementia or type 2 diabetes in your family, you need to start brain health prevention at the age of 25. If you don't have any of those pre-existing conditions, then at 35, you have to start brain health prevention. What does that mean? Cutting out the sugar. Dr. Ralph was just sharing with me a book that he read that, is it the Mongolians?
Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan, they ate no carbohydrates. No carbohydrates. Weren't essential for life. And you can look at their longevity. Yes, they did kill each other in war, but they didn't have some of those disease processes we talked about. So even when you go back ancestral, because they didn't have refrigeration, they didn't have drive-through. So if you're one of those people who have that drive-through addiction, like, oh, I'm not going to go, I'm not going to go, and then you go, and then you push that button and you say you're going to hold the bun, and then you don't, and you're going to say without fries, and then you get the bottom of the bag fries. We're going to help you teach how you can control that drive-through addiction, how you can stop sugar from hijacking your brain, and have amazing energy throughout the day, and then make a lifestyle. But it starts with little baby challenges. Like for me, just get in the water, 5 minutes in the water. 5 minutes turns into 20 minutes. 20 minutes turns into 30 minutes. And if my physical therapy, if 20 minutes of water, 20 minutes of bike, and 20 minutes of water can turn into a triathlon in the spring, not the next day, not the next week, maybe it's not in the spring, maybe it's next year, then that's a huge win. But you just have to take those little bitty challenges. And for some people, it's 60 hours, like a 60-hour reboot. Just cutting out snacking and food for 60 hours is a huge win. Maybe it's 10 days challenge, which is no snacking, no sugar, that kind of thing. We've got that as well. Or maybe it's a lifestyle overhaul we're going to do in January, which is a 7-week program, which is activating those stem cells, those healthy energy cells in your body to reactivate and slow down that aging process so you age well, we're going to call it, so you actually help your body find out and tap into its energy source to slow down that aging process. Some things in life we can't control, the pollution in the air and what those things sometimes we can't control. There are things we can control, and we're going to teach you to help you find out what good sleep hygiene is, what good healthy hygiene is when it comes to body soap, when it comes to drinking things and putting things in your mouth and on your body. So thank you for letting me share my triathlon journey and story and just some of the tools that I use. And it is not one thing fixes everything or one thing cures everything. It is everything together that works for your body, and putting those things together and finding the right tools that help you feel the best each and every day. So again, this is Dr. Heather here live from Cardin Center for Wellness saying have an amazing day. If you want to know more about any of those programs we have to offer, simply just reach out to me. Either put reboot down below, which is a 60-hour program, or put down beta for our December beta test challenge, or put down 6 weeks if you want to join our January 6-week program. You guys have an amazing day. We'll be seeing you soon.